Hello everybody and welcome back to Comet Sighted, episode number 13. Today we're going to be talking about the Republics and the Senate in Imperator Rome. The Senate in a Republic has 100 seats and each seat belongs to one of the 5 factions. Every adult character in a Republic has a predilection of each faction and is supportive of one. Each faction also has a leader, generally the most prominent character that supports that faction. Depending on which faction the ruler of the Republic belongs to, the Republic gets various bonuses or malices. For the Civic faction, it's a 25% tax increase, 10% cheaper and faster buildings. Military faction, 25% land morale and 25% naval morale. Mercantile faction, 25% commerce income, 5 diplomatic reputation. I almost said 5 diplomatic, the other one, relations. But no, it's reputation. That would be a lot. Religious faction, 10% omen power, 33% cheaper religious conversion. Populist faction, 10% power costs. Plus 10% power costs? I imagine that's supposed to be either plus 10% power gain or minus 10% power costs. I'm not sure what the gain of the populist faction would be if it just made everything more expensive. For the modders out there, you can freely add or remove factions and make them available to different government types or have any type of trigger allowing the faction to give unique ones. As you may have noticed, having populace in power is not entirely beneficial. Oh, never mind. So there is, populace being in power is just that bad. That is not a typo. It's just not good. The amount of seats in the Senate change over time depending on different factions. The amount of seats in the Senate changes over time depending on different factors, with the charisma of the faction leader always impacting the attraction of the Senate. If you wish to strengthen a party's position in the Senate instantly, you can always spend oratory power to convince 10 seats to join that faction instead. Doing so, however, increases your tyranny. So, why must you take into account the composition of the Senate? Well, there are 3 types of activities where the Senate will impact your ability to do exactly what you want at any given time, like a ruler in an absolute monarchy. The Senate can outright block you if the support for the action you desire to do, if less than 40 seats is currently backing that action. If less than 60 seats back the action, you can force it through, but you'll gain some tyranny from it. There are 3 different categories of actions which require Senate approval. All changing of laws require approval by the Senate. A lot of character interactions like banishing and imprisoning, etc. All diplomatic interactions with other nations. If the Senate will approve an action or not depends very much on its composition and what you want to do. Military faction is very likely to back new wars, but even some of its seats will be against wars if you have war exhaustion, low at manpower, or currently in a war. When you do an action, a lot of times it has impact on the characters of your nation. Loyalty is lost or gained depending on faction membership, and seats are gained or lost for different factions. For the modders again, all of this can be controlled entirely through powerful scripting language. Here's an example of the Senate calculations for declare war. And then we have a little code here. What is this? C#? I'm not exactly sure. I'm a terrible coder. And here we have our picture for the day. We are attempting to declare war on Carthage as Rome right at the top of the game here, January 1st of 450 after the founding of the city. So you can see that each, at the start of the game at least, each faction has 20 seats. There's exactly 60 seats, it looks like, behind demanding tribute from Carthage in the Senate. And it said less than 60 would gain you tyranny. So it looks like there's just enough to declare war on Carthage as Rome here. But it would gain a little bit, you'd gain a little bit of loyalty from the characters in the military faction, and the military faction would gain 3 seats in the House, because the civics would lose 1, the mercantiles would lose 1, and the populists would also lose a seat. I like that it's more dynamic, that declaring war isn't just this static thing that you do, kind of like in EU4. It affects the country and the people in the country a little bit more. And as is tradition, we are over on Johan's Twitter, taking a look at what he has posted. It's a nearly identical screen. It's Rome declaring war on Phrygia? I don't know how to pronounce that correctly. But what I did notice, and then I didn't notice immediately on the other one, is that it does give you like a little breakdown of important information, kind of like in CK2. This is a very CK2-esque thing, where when you look at a character, you can see important information that you go to when you want to declare war on them. Money, manpower. I want to say this is research points. I think somebody pointed that out before. This has something to do with research. stability. And I'm not sure what this one is. Looks like it has something to do with Civic. Oh, man, look at... Johan has all of the PowerPoints. And I'm not sure what's going on over here. We have a list of characters and their positions. Governor, plebeian, Adile. I don't know how to pronounce this. I gotta look that up one of these times. It's one of those words that I've always pronounced in my head one way, and then when I have to pronounce it out loud, I'm just like, you know what? That's probably not right. Party leader, researcher, and governor. What I'm imagining is these are the people that are going to be impacted by the loyalty impact change. That's the way I see this, because I can't actually see the cursor in this screenshot, but I imagine that it would be like here, and then you give this. It makes sense to me. That makes sense. Well, that's going to be it for today, folks. Apologies that it was a little more rambly than normal today. I'm not feeling great. Allergies are kind of wreaking havoc on me, which is why I've been a little sniffly. Hopefully edit all that out. But I think that everything I've seen in today's DD is a good thing. I kind of like when one of these pops up and I'm like, ooh, that is something, that is like a CK2 thing that got pulled out and is getting put in, and ooh, that looks cool. That's an EU4 thing that got pulled out and is getting pulled in. And what the Senate kind of reminded me of is like in CK2 when you have a powerful council and you want to declare war, and there's a bunch of people that are just like, no, we don't want you to do this, and you could do it anyway, but you'll be a tyrant. It reminded me of that, which that was always something I liked. And oh, you know what I noticed is the little hands here. Got thumbs up and the middle thumb one, which is you know, like the ancient thumbs down kind of version of things. I just noticed that. Oh, anyway, getting off track though. Wrapping this up. Thanks for watching, everybody. I do appreciate it. Let me know what you think of this, how the Senate mechanics work. Let me know what you think about that. I don't see anything negative in here. I'm not seeing anything that I wholly hate. I'm like, okay, this adds a little more dynamicness to your government. I like that. You know, there could be far-reaching implications for things you do. Declare war, press it, you know, you really want to declare this war, you press it against the Senate's approval, you get a little bit of tyranny, you lose some loyalty, maybe one of those characters is in charge of one of your armies, that army is no longer loyal to you. It could have far-reaching implications, but you know, with this stuff, you never really can tell how it's going to affect the game until you get into it and that minutia really comes out. Like, it could do that, or it could have such a minor impact that it's just one of those things you never really pay much attention to. In a Paradox game, it's a mechanic that kind of, you know, gets put in and then left at the wayside because it's not balanced correctly, or is not balanced in a way where you actually have to worry about it unless there's like a degenerative situation where everything's gone completely tits up, and that's the straw that broke the camel's back. Never know until you get into it, but I like what I'm seeing. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all next time.